These are our three main targets: waterfall, a tunnel site, and breach 6. Let's get at it.
Here are 5 World War II discoveries that shocked everyone. World War II, one of the most cruel periods of human history, is of course also full of interesting and dreadful discoveries.
Just forward of the bow and went down to the 2,000 feet, maybe a little lower, dropped my bomb.
Some of which we're finding out to this day. Whether those are secret weapons facilities, long-lost hidden messages, or cutting-edge technology that never saw the light of day, World War II is home to many intriguing artifacts. Join us as we explore what was left behind in this brutal chapter of humanity and how the remnants of this bygone era are still capable of telling fascinating and terrifying stories.
There are many among us who in the past closed their eyes to events abroad because they believed that what was taking place in Europe was none of our...
Number 5. $1 billion paintings uncovered. The Nazis were known for stealing artwork from its citizens. They had a law that prohibited the creation as well as the ownership of any sort of degenerate artwork. To them, degenerate meant any sort of art that was deemed to be immoral or depicted activities that were considered immoral.
Christie's auction house is about to put on a $1 billion sale.
This gave Nazi officials an excuse to seize any paintings they wanted, as the terms could be flexible and apply to any artwork they wanted to have. The public reason they gave for seizing such works of art was to destroy them, but in reality, the Nazis wanted to keep the artwork for themselves and make good use of their value. An official known as Hildebrand Gerlit abused his authority and seized many works of art as part of the Nazi propaganda ministry. Paintings were stolen from Jewish families and facilities.
Hildebrand Gerlit is that he was prominently involved in the 2 major art transaction programs of the Nazis.
His collection was extensive, including artwork from Chagall, Picasso and Henri Matisse.
Le dessin est une peinture faite avec des moyens réduits, sur une surface blanche, une feuille de papier, avec une plume et de l'encre, on peut pas.
There were more than 1,200 irreplaceable paintings worth a collective $1 billion in his collection, but all of them were destroyed during Allied bombings in World War II. At least that's what we believed until 2012. When Hildebrand died, his son Cornelius Hildebrand took care of the paintings. He moved them to his apartment in Munich and kept them a secret from the public by hiding the paintings in a back room of the apartment. However, this secret would be revealed after Cornelius' slip-up.
Deutschland das Problem, das kann man schon so sagen. Und dann ist entsprechend gehandelt worden.
German police found the man acting strange and suspicious on a train one day. Upon his arrest and further interrogation, the location of the paintings was revealed to the police. The Well found out that these paintings weren't destroyed after all and were kept a secret all this time.
She already died in the Annus Horribilis in 2012. In this year she died, and in this year his own.
German authorities have been trying their best to return these works of art to their rightful owners. However, Cornelius didn't see it that way and believed that he was the rightful owner of the paintings.
Cornelius Gerlit is not a name that would be familiar to many people until this year. He's someone that lived as a recluse in Munich in a very...
He later died in 2014. Number 4. A submarine that could launch aircraft. Naval warfare is a crucial field of World War II. Each nation was racing to develop the best and most effective technology to employ on the battlefields to eliminate their enemies. There was a lot of experimentation in that day and age, with many prototypes being developed. Some proved very effective, while others didn't last long enough to see war. One such invention is the novel I-400 submarine of Japan, a submarine that was designed to launch aircraft. Now, the aircraft wouldn't be launched from the ocean floor. The I-400 submarine would have to surface beforehand. It was one of the largest submarines ever built until nuclear ballistic missile submarines came along in the 1960s. Due to its sheer size, it could house and launch 3 aircraft, functioning as a submerged aircraft carrier. The theory behind it is that the submarine would surface, launch its planes, and then submerge again. The Japanese planned to use this submarine in an attack on the Panama Canal, and even a surprise attack on the American fleet anchorage at Ulithi. But these attacks would never occur as the war ended before their execution. These submarines were discovered by the Americans after Japan's surrender.
It is my earnest hope, and indeed the hope of all mankind, that from this solemn occasion
Only 3 of these submarines were ever finished out of the 18 that were planned, and America took control of all 3 of them. The Americans were absolutely shocked to see the sheer size of these vessels, as there was nothing like it at the time. Even the Soviets took an interest and wanted to thoroughly inspect these vessels, but the Americans didn't want this technology in the hands of Stalin. As a result, these submarines were moved to a hidden location and subsequently sunk by a US ship. Nobody but the crew of the ship knew where these submarines were disposed of.
Look out. When I got to look through the periscope, it was a bunch that believed.
That is, until several decades later. The I-401 was discovered in 2005 in Hawaiian waters by a research team, and 8 years later in 2013, the same team discovered the I-400. While the technology was groundbreaking at the time, by today's standards, there's much to be gained from reverse engineering this vessel. However, it does serve as a remarkable piece of history. Number 3. Secret spy message found in 2012. Communication in war is extremely important, so much so that bizarrely the US and other armies would resort to using carrier pigeons to relay messages. In an era fraught with wiretapping, eavesdropping, and code breaking, it had seemed logical to use such methods. These pigeons weren't left alone though. Hostile forces would attempt to shoot down any of them they saw, to the point where hawks would be trained to attack carrier pigeons. The message being carried by the bird was, of course, also coded and had to be decoded in order to be understood by the recipient. These pigeons were deemed so brave that they were awarded medals for their exemplary service to the military by Britain. Pigeons were even used by spies that were working behind enemy lines, but each spy used their own unique code to communicate, and it was the remains of one of these spy pigeons that was discovered in 2012. It was a normal day of cleaning out a chimney for this Surrey homeowner until they came across the leg bone of a pigeon with a canister attached to it. This pigeon had been stuck in the chimney with its message since World War II. Attempts to decode the message have been in vain, as it was impossible to decipher without the original source code. Number 2. Secret Nazi weapons factory. The Nazis had a secret cave in Austria, one of which was responsible for producing aircrafts for the war. This cave was not simple. It was a complex network of tunnels spanning 45,000 square meters.
When you descend in the elevator, you have this sense of claustrophobia.
While initially used for aircraft production, its purpose was shifted towards more sinister projects. When the cave was discovered, instruments detected unusually high amounts of radiation coming from it. Some say these levels were natural, while others say this cave was home to something much worse, a weapon of mass destruction. This cave was used to manufacture Nazi nuclear weaponry. Although the Germans never succeeded in this endeavor, they certainly pursued it.
This is yet another example of making irresponsible and provocative choices.
This secret underground weapons facility was mentioned in the diary of an Austrian physicist who worked for Nazi Germany. Some scholars even wondered if the Nazi general that was responsible for this project was brought to America to help with their own nuclear weapons program. This cave was found in 2014 thanks to the help of an Austrian filmmaker who used ground-penetrating radar technology to figure out the exact location of the facility. It wasn't easy to uncover this place. It is located under a concentration camp, and its entrance was sealed by the Nazis using slabs of granite. The Nazis used whatever labor they could get from concentration camps to build this awful labyrinth. Number 1. Panther in a garage. Collecting relics of World War II or even World War I is strictly prohibited in modern-day Germany, especially so for any sort of weaponry. It's a prosecutable offense with the severity of the punishment depending on how functional and operational the weapons are. However, one individual in the town of Heikendorf decided to ignore this law. While some would settle for hiding a Kar 98K rifle in their closet, this 70-year-old man took his hobby of collecting war relics to a new level. German investigators were given a tip that there might be stolen art in this man's villa. but instead of finding oil paintings, they found an underground garage housing a Panther tank. Not only that, but they also found mortars, a torpedo, anti-aircraft guns, and more than 15,000 rounds of ammunition along with a few other weapons. The local people of Heikendorf considered the collector a quiet and conservative citizen. Interestingly, him being the owner of a Panther tank wasn't much of a secret, as there had been reports of the man driving his World War II tank around the neighborhood in 1978. It wasn't cheap to restore this tank to its current condition. It cost the man roughly $303,000 to repair the body and another $30,000 to repair the engine. All of it is to be taken away at the end. Did we miss out on any discoveries worth mentioning? Let us know and be sure to subscribe for more in the future.